and welcome to another 5-minute video from Paper Classroom. Today we're going to be talking about airflow in drying areas. So in this session we're going to talk about two aspects of airflow. Energy conservation and controlling airflow. It's worth starting off with the development of hoods. At one time, all paper machines were like this. We had a top set of drying cylinders, a bottom set of drying cylinders that might well be level with the machine floor, possibly extending down into the basements. But there was no form of hood or anything to control airflow at all. Then people started to think about saving energy. So the first thing they did was to put a hood on top of it with perhaps an economizer on here. An economizer would be a sort of heat exchange device. So they would simply collect the hot air and the steam from the drying section, put it through a bit of a heat exchanger and warm up the air that was coming in. But as you can see, still very much open all over the rest of the drying system. Then the third stage was they extended the hood down, they put some sort of insulation in to make it better, and then finally you got a closed hood where absolutely everything was totally enclosed, and that was really good because then they could control the air that came in and they could control and measure the air that was coming out. And this is a typical system nowadays with all the bells and whistles. What's essentially happening is, here's our drying cylinder area. That's producing lots of hot air and steam. We're sucking that out, just like the original hood, and we're putting it through a heat exchanger. So there we will now have cold, dry-ish air going out. The cold air that was coming in passes the heat exchanger. That will take up all that heat, so that air that's nice and dry will be warm. The air that comes in, we do two things with it. We bring some of it in to the top of the dry system and we push air down, and we bring other air in and we take it to the bottom and we push it up. So we've got these two streams of air coming down and meeting. The point at which they meet we call the 0 point, and on most machine configurations 0 point is usually somewhere around shoulder height. And if you go to the experts, the people who do this thing who monitor and do things like this for a living, they'll take something like a very light piece of cigarette paper and they will put it in the dry system and let go, and it will float there. And that tells them where the 0 point is. If it continues to go down, it's telling them that the airflow downwards is too great. If it goes up, the airflow upwards is too great. If it hovers in the wrong place, the flows are right, but the balance is wrong. And another important thing is measuring the humidity of the air coming out. And it's generally accepted that the perfect humidity for air coming out of the system should be round about 85% relative humidity. If the value is lower than 85%, that really means you're pushing too much air through, and therefore you're wasting money on electricity with the fans. If the relative humidity is greater than 85%, that means that the airflow is not good enough. So you're using a lot more energy trying to push those extra few percent to get it up from 85 to maybe 90. So you're using a lot more energy to pack more water molecules into that airflow. Therefore you should increase airflow at that point. So a summary of what we've said about airflow in this session. It started really by just trying to retain and recycle some heat. Then they started putting in heat exchangers. Finally, full control of airflow and humidity, as you saw in that last diagram. Okay, well, thank you very much for listening to this video, and please feel free to follow us on any of this social media.